Yo, it's your main man, King Castro X, coming at you guys live and direct. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a long time since I've said this. We've taken some time off. I've been very, very busy doing my own thing in the gym and things like that. You guys know Jules over on Comic Cons has been doing the same thing. That's why we haven't dropped that. But ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back with cinema time with Comic and Castro. I got my boy in the building over here,
Hi,
young comic book fan, man. Say what's up. Talk to the audience.
what's
Say
up?
hi.
Hi, how's you doing, everyone? How's it going? Glad to be back.
Yeah,
Back
definitely.
talking films.
Finally, it's been a long time. We've seen mini films. I
Yeah,
want to go ahead and say as well. I mean, this you just celebrated your 3,000th.
my
Uh,
3,000th review. Yeah,
yeah, reviewed film on Letterbox, which you guys can find. Just comic book fan. I think comic book is it just comic book fan?
yeah, same comic book fan. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
search him up. He reviews movies on there and things like that. But we're finally back. We just got done watching a brand new horror movie, old horror movie, but new to us, off
yes,
of our list. Last time you guys checked in with us, we were reviewing top 1,000 horror movies of all time. I think it is.
that's true. Yes, accumulated list of everyone's favorite horror movies
Mhm.
put onto a massive list, so a mega
Yes.
list of horror movies.
So we're finally back. We decided to revisit our list. We have not completed our job of watching every single movie on that list, kids. So we finally returned, and we have a new movie for you. 1997 or 1977's Alucarda. It's a Spanish film, actually filmed in Mexico. I did a little IMDb research. Pretty interesting. I'm gonna let Comic tell you guys a little bit about it. Guys, we're getting back in the groove. Be patient. We're figuring this out. It's been a while since we've sat and talked
Okay,
and chatted. So
yeah.
go ahead, Comic. Talk about the
Uh,
film a little bit. I didn't look up the director. I'll look up the director unless you got it on hand.
no, I'm a bit hazy with the director too. But
It's
the
okay.
whole premise of the film is this young woman goes to a church
Mhm.
in Mexico to kind of study and becomes entangled with another woman called
Alucarda.
Alucarda. This is Alucarda.
Correct.
Alucarda. And becoming involved with this woman, they get into a lot of escapades and they
That they
unintentionally
do.
reveal a link to Satanism,
Mhm.
demons, and this Alucard has opened the gateway to an entity that comes through and affects these two women's lives, and also starts a rampage through the church, and
Yes.
and
Yes.
carnage and weirdness and a lot of strange stuff starts happening.
Very true. I will say I'm gonna drop some little sprinkles in there now. You know what I mean? So she does come and meet this woman Alucarda, and from the start, from her very first entrance into the film, you can tell something is kind of up with Alucarda. She's not quite. She doesn't act normal. She's kind of
No,
weird.
no.
Wouldn't you say? Uh,
I would say that definitely. Her entrance is very weird. It's very weird.
Ominous.
Yeah.
Definitely ominous. From the very first time they meet, she's very forged. The other girl's name is Justine. She approaches Justine. She's like, basically, I'm probably gonna slaughter. She doesn't say we're gonna be friends, but essentially, like, we're gonna rock out. Come with me. I love secrets. I'm gonna show you some secrets. And they run off into the woods, into the wilderness. Really weird. They run off into the wilderness and they run into what I feel is like some gypsies, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a man with a hunchback and a magnificent beard who wants them to come with him
Magnificent
to
beard.
show him some trinkets
Some more
and stuff
secrets.
and more secrets. Yeah, wants to reveal something to them and takes them to a cart where there's another a lady there and
Mhm.
shows some artifacts that
Yes.
sends Alucard even more weirder,
Into like
cries
a
about age and
yes.
like you must come with me to the other lady, and
Mhm.
they went off again down into like a tomb, into
Into a
a
tomb.
yeah,
Mhm.
it looked like a house to me, but but when you get in, you can tell it's a tomb. And it was there is something there that she reveals to her. I think that's it.
Correct. So, Alucarda and Justine in that scene, when they run into the tomb, Alucarda pitches the idea to Justine, "Hey, let's make a pact." Uh, with that being said, there's other dialogue going on in the sense of like, bear in mind, all right, these girls just met literally like an hour ago, is what it feels
Yes.
like. They just meet, and Alucard is basically like, I'm in love with you. I I don't want anything else in life without you. You are life. She hits her with yeah, I mean, very, very forward, very, very embracive. She asks her, she says, let's make a pact that if we're going to die, let's do it together. And the only way we will leave this earth is together. I don't want life without you. We are life together. We should be together, basically. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a thing that kind of threw me because we're only 5, 10 minutes into the film. She's just
Yes,
met this innocent lady, Justine, that just wants to kind of learn about God
I
and
guess.
everything.
Yeah. Trying to
Yeah,
be a nun, I imagine.
no,
That's what
trying to
she's
be a
doing.
nun, yeah,
Mhm.
and then and this woman comes in, starts moaning and waving around, saying
Mhm.
like, we need to make a pact. We need to kind of profess our love for each other. I can trust you, and this Justine has just only just met her, and this Alucard is completely behaving so otherworldly, not how you would behave to a new person, really.
I
Just
100%. I will say, okay, so there's a switch in this movie, right? Where it goes
yes,
from like, this kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. It's almost hysterical at moments, kind of comedic. Because,
mhm,
guys, I said the comic before, off recording, like, okay, first things first, when watching a movie from a different era, you know what, you got to put yourself into the mindset of when that era was, or when that film was filmed. When, yeah, when the movie was filmed. So with that, we're in 1977.
mhm,
Respect to all creators in 1977. You guys did incredible. Without you, we wouldn't have movies now. But dialogue is definitely different. The way people wrote films is a little different. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this dialogue is kind of all over the place in the beginning of the film, I'd say. What do you think?
yeah, yeah. I say it's tonally inconsistent in a good way. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
it's totally crazy. Just it has no background. It has no like detail to anything. It just
Right.
puts you right in the middle. There's no like. It's only 70. Like how long is it? 78 minutes long or something like
Yeah.
that.
I
It
think
has a
about.
lot of stuff in there at that end, and it just puts you right into the story right away
It
without
definitely does.
any
No
background.
context.
No context. I mean, this woman's just professing a love for this other
Yes.
woman without nothing to symbolize. You're not expecting like Christopher Nolan,
Not at all.
Oppenheimer here.
The
It's
story
just
is
very,
very random.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of knows what it is. It knows it's what it's about, and it just wants to just show what it can do. And you along for the ride, and it's just crazy after crazy,
it is.
thing after thing after thing, and it's great, and it's equally hilarious. Well, I found it
I
hilarious.
agree.
We
This
watched
is
it together. It
yes,
was
we did.
great.
This is where I bring in the switch, right? So you have the whole beginning, like first 15 to 20 minutes of like,
Mhm.
what the fuck's going on? This is kind of trash. I'm gonna be honest. That's how I feel. Like this
Yeah,
is a little trash. This is not gonna be good. And then there's a switch in this movie where it's like, oh shit, this is very interesting. This is entertaining. This is weird. This is out of the box. This is creepy. You know what I mean? And the story for me kind of gets a little better. Like it got more interesting. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. I didn't mean to go off on a ramble. I just had to make it clear that there is a switch in the film where it's like it goes from being kind of bad to like actually worth watching.
yeah,
To where now I would suggest maybe somebody should watch this. But we were in the tomb, so they're in the tomb. They start to make this love pact or this pact. I don't even know if it's a love pact. The pact is like if we're gonna die, like we're gonna do it together. You know what I mean? But it gets interrupted. They start to make the pact, and Justine comes to Alucarda, and she's like, I'm scared. No, like, I don't want to do this yet. She doesn't say flat out, like, I don't want to do this, right? But she says, like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm terrified. And Alucarda asks her, like, are you afraid of death? And she's like, yes, everyone is. Alucarda and Justine's personalities are completely different, I'd say. What do you think, comic?
Yeah, I'd say very, very different. One,
Yes.
one is more kind of a feet firmly on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Justine, kind of like the realistic kind of. I've just been fussed in this, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Deer caught in headlights kind of
Mm-hmm.
situation, and then Alucardi's completely screaming, throwing her hands around. She's like operating on a completely different zone, a different level. Drank maybe too much coffee. I don't know, but
Yes.
the
Definitely
zone's
hyperactive. I
very
agree.
hyperactive. It's amazing to watch.
It
Watch
is.
her just
It is.
operatic.
It is. I want to tell you guys how I feel about this movie so much, comic. But hold on. Let's get through the
A
story
lot to
really
talk.
quick.
It's a lot to do. Yeah,
I'm
but
trying. I want to give you guys a quick,
yeah,
like, what happens, but it was interesting though. So in that moment of, are you afraid of death? Blah blah blah. She's like, wait, what's that? And randomly, because we're in the random moments of the film right now, randomly, what's that? There's a tomb to the left of them, a grave, and they open it, right?
mhm, yeah,
When they open it, there's a dead body in there. Justine starts screaming. Alucarda starts freaking out, and she starts acting more out of out of character than she already was. She starts. You, what do you think, comic? You go ahead, tell them.
yeah. Yeah. She acts completely. I'd say demented.
Yes.
She starts twirling around. That's the part we're on. I think twirling
Mm-hmm.
around, swirling, and it just gets completely insane. And they
100%.
yeah, they go back. I think they find the body, go back, don't they, to
Mm-hmm.
their room, and then this is where it gets I think
This is
completely
where
switches,
it gets good. It gets really
because
good.
there's a character that comes into it who's the gypsy, probably my favorite character of the film, and
Really.
yeah, he comes just appears out of nowhere from a shadow, and a ritual just
Mm-hmm.
starts to unfurl, just out of nowhere. A ritual starts happening, and there's a little of naughtiness takes,
Mm-hmm.
blood is exchanged. uh
So this is where the
yeah,
pact actually takes place.
the
This is where
pact
they sit
happens. Yeah,
down, and this character who I thought at the time was Satan, right? We had
yeah,
discussed, is this, was he the devil? This is the furry guy we were talking about earlier with the hunchback, comic's favorite character, the gypsy they ran into that showed the trinkets, the secrets.
mhm,
That guy, he reappears randomly in the room, as comic book fan says. Uh, I'm gonna reveal the details, comic. I'll let them know what goes on in this scene here. Comic is gentle, guys. He doesn't want to tell the dirty. Uh, but so what happens here, guys, is they just all of a sudden are butt naked on their knees. This character, the hunchback man,
yeah.
uh, slits their breast, cuts both boobs, and makes them like drink each other's blood. And in that scene, they make the pact. Comic, you take it from there. I had to add the details.
Yeah. Makes the pact, and then they start getting it. They start getting it on. He just completely goes missing.
He just
Goes
disappears
Disappears
randomly.
out of nowhere.
Not
And
not the best of edits, but it worked.
no,
He just
yeah,
was gone.
it just goes. It's strange how that happens. You're just there, and oh, it's gone, which is like this the whole way through.
Mhm.
And then they start getting it on. They start
They do.
yeah,
They
they
get it
do.
on,
They get it
and
on.
the very next scene, they're not the only ones getting it on. It becomes an orgy of a bunch of random people just getting it on,
Yes,
surrounding
that's
them.
true. I've just watched this movie like 20 minutes ago, and I was forgetting.
Yes.
You reminded me. Yeah, yeah. These people go into like a square, and like the whole street. I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
We never see these people again. I don't know if
They're
that's
just there for the sex.
they're
That's
just
all.
there. There must be about 30 of them all just get their
Mhm.
clothes off and start having fun. and there's all crescendo of music, and then at the same time these two ladies also enjoying themselves, and then this is for me the moment where I was like, wow, she starts Aleph Aleph Aleph, what's her name? Aleph.
Alucarda. You almost made me forget.
Alucarda starts screaming her
Yes,
head off. Or is it, no, actually it's Justine screams her head off.
I
That's
think
it,
it's
Justine.
Justine. I think it's Justine.
Justine screams her head off. That's it. And she's reacting and is going like just over the top,
Yes.
screaming, and it all builds to this kind of like, you know, ending where they all just completely, have had fun and
Yes.
scream.
Is this the same scene where what I think Satan this I think this is where Satan actually appears. He's like a bull man, right? Do you remember this?
Yes,
Hovering over them. I think
yes,
this is why
that's
I
it.
was confused if the little hunchback guy was Satan or this guy, because this guy looks like the devil. This actually was terrifying to me. I didn't like that. I mean, I loved it, but I
Yeah.
didn't. I was like,
Oh, you
oh
didn't
god.
like? Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
He appears with like a goat's
Yes.
head, ram's head
Hmm.
over his head, and
What you guys think Satan looks like? He looked like that,
yeah, yeah.
you know?
What he would look like? Yeah, the typical version of Satan looks like with the horns
Right.
and
Very terrifying.
yeah, very unique to me, and I think it goes into like folk horror territory at that point.
This is yes, 100%
It's
from the
what
moment
I
they
was
get
thinking.
naked to the moment the goat man is there, we go down the folk horror rabbit hole, which is, as comic book fan will tell you, like, that's my jam, dude. I live for that. You can keep your slasher films and all that. I'm a folk horror die-hard fan, guys. So, anyway, continue, comic, continue.
Yeah, yeah. That scene ends. They all kind of have had fun, and
Mhm.
they go to the church next. I think the church,
Yes.
and they that's the yes, and the two ladies
Yes, we
are
get a
in a
very good scene here.
yeah. This is your favorite scene, I think. They
It
go
was
into
done well.
yeah. It was done really professionally, kind of like
Mhm,
great, and it's these two girls who obviously have been through the ritual,
mhm.
and the nun is teaching them, uh,
Correct. Like the
and
lead nun,
the lead nun, the
the
teacher,
mother.
and the mother nun, mother superior, I think they call her,
Yes, yes.
mother superior, and she's teaching them, and the two girls then start to say like, no, you are lying, we renounce, we are hail Satan, hail, hail our Lord, do you
Yes.
saying wrong? And then they
So
kind of get everyone else excited and all the others, and then these nuns start trying to say, okay, we've got to get them out, so they have to
right.
get everyone else out, because what I find interesting is this is they treat it like an illness, like
Mhm,
it's they try to find a rational way to do it
mhm,
before it gets all Old Testament kind of
mhm.
thing like that. They're trying to get them all out because we don't want the other girls to get affected and start speaking in tongues and stuff like that,
Right.
and that's when the the priest starts to come. He's more
He
involved in
gets
the story.
involved, correct. So in that scene, as comic says, again, just want to drop some just highlight details that I really loved.
Mhm,
So in the scene, as comic said, the nuns reading from the Bible, and the girls are whispering to each other in the background, not paying attention, right? Uh, and then the nun notices and she's like, "Can you guys quote back what I just said?" Basically, like a teacher in school when you don't listen, like, "Hey, stand up in front of the class, say what I said," trying to
mhm.
embarrass them. Alucarda stands up, quotes it word for word, and at the very end, like this scene was so good to me. I loved it, man. It was evil as can be. She stands up, quotes the verse right back to her word for word, and she, as he said, "Hail Satan! This is Satan, Satan, Satan!" Like we denounce God, and like I was like, "Yo, this is metal! Like this is so evil right here in this scene." It was really intense. But as you said, the priest gets brought in because now we're dealing with something I feel bigger than this may you got to look at this. I don't know if this is illness. I think the head mother feels like she's possessed. She feels like the devil's in her. She needs to be corrected or whatever. And from there, I'll let you pick it up. You know what I mean? They bring in the priest.
Yeah, yeah. They bring in the priest, and and they start kind of playing games with them. There's a lot of
Mhm.
playing games, a lot of them trying to say like, a lot of controversy. Like they're saying they're sick, not
Yes.
sick. They bring in the doctor. They bring in the what they call it, the bugs. What they call them? Oh,
Uh, the
oh, the that suck out the blood. Forgot what they call them. They bring
like
them in anyway.
leeches?
That's them, leeches. Yeah,
Got you.
that's it. Leeches come in, and
Yeah.
they start to.
Sorry, I was
Then,
lost.
yeah, I was thinking of what was the name called? Yeah, and it gets more insane from there. I think it's what happens then? The priest comes in. Do you remember what happens next?
So the priest comes
Yeah,
in. The priest comes in. Like I said, they think there's the half of the church, as Comic was saying, thinks is the girls are sick. The other half is like, yo, they're possessed. Really, it's the mother. It's like, yo, they're possessed, dude. Like this isn't right. The priest comes in to check on him. And then there's a scene with Alucarda and the priest where the priest is like, why are you, because Alucarda's saying, I did nothing wrong. Basically, I did exactly what she asked. I quoted it for word, and she's basically like, tripping. And he's like, why would you lie to me? Take this opportunity now that you have to repent for your sins, basically, like denounce your evil. And she's like, I don't feel like I did anything wrong, but basically, like, I feel like you are in the wrong. You're not living life. I love life. You worship death. Like the dialogue on this comic book was like, I thought, very good. I love life. You hate life. I fell in love with Justine, and we touched, and basically we're together now, and we're all about our lives and things like that. And you refuse to live that. Look at your black robes. You cover your bare body. We're free. And then she forces herself onto the priest. She says, like, you want me. That's the problem. You just basically want me. You're into me. But in a way more like better written ways. She said
yeah,
it better.
very good
Uh,
though. Very good.
and she forces herself onto the priest. The priest, like, yo, freaks out, falls over, and that's where he gets up and he's like, nah, this girl, they're possessed. Like, we need to do an exorcism. I think I'm fast forwarding through a whole lot right here
Yeah,
from
I'm
jumping
trying
from
to
there with the
remember what
exorcism.
happens next. Yeah, it's I remember the sound that the priest made at that point because there's like a demon sound that happens, but I don't think you see
Yes.
anything. I think it's more about what you hear. But I was
Mhm.
waiting to see something like
Yes.
glad this film. I was waiting to see something like dead bodies coming back to life and
Right.
heads spin. We didn't see that, but we saw
We
some
did
good
not.
stuff.
We
But
did get some good stuff. So like I said, the priest thinks that they're possessed, and I'm gonna fast forward because I really just want to talk to you about how I felt about the
yeah,
movie. I'm super excited. So the fast forward, like I said, the priest thinks they're gonna have an exorcism. Like I said, guys, we just watched this 20 minutes ago, so it's still very fresh, but also very
yeah,
far. Yeah, they set up the exorcism situation. This scene was really cool. We'll talk to you guys about it in just a second. They set up the exorcism. A doctor character gets involved because he thinks it's sick. He comes in mid exorcism. We've already spoiled so much. I don't want to spoil what's going on in these scenes because it's really, to me, this is the meat and potatoes of the movie. You know what I mean?
mhm.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, the doctor's come in at that point,
Mhm.
and he's trying to rationalize what's happening, saying,
Yes,
he's
as a
sick,
regular
as he
thinker
should.
would. Yeah,
He's learned to look at the logic of everything,
correct.
and the priest's saying, no, they're possessed. They're possessed by a demon. They need to be exorcised. And
Mhm.
as you said, this big scene of everyone just kind of just naked again, and the priest
Yes,
there. There's a lot of nakedness in this film, and they're going and in escape. I think the one escapes, one girl escapes, and
yes,
one stays is locked. And this is where it gets interesting for me because you said vampire, correct?
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
and it's interesting. One is becomes like a vampire, and one
Yes,
is like Carrie,
Satan.
like
Yes,
Satan
much
sets
like Carrie,
fire
that's what I thought a
like
lot.
Carrie, yeah, just sets fire to everything with her mind, and
Correct.
and at that point, that's when the evil has gone in, and the nuns are all sacrificed one by one. They're all
Mhm,
like affected by the presence, and
mhm.
the doctor goes looking for Justine and finds her in a coffin. Very grotesque vision of blood.
Yes.
It looked uncomfortable to film because it's all corn syrup. They use corn syrup in the blood.
Yeah, that probably sucked. That was
So it's
probably
probably
tough.
having to be stuck in that heat
Mhm,
in Mexico, and just it's probably uncomfortable for that lady. I really remember
definitely.
that bit, and
Mhm,
and and then they kill her and
they
Justine,
do.
and she's melts because they throw holy water on her, and we know
Yes.
she's a vampire because she bites one of the nuns'
Mhm,
necks and explodes, like melts, and you just see smoke everywhere and bones. And then the priest is let go because they've held him because he's a bit insane. And
mhm.
they're not insane, just very kind of filled with passion. One still
Right.
knows what's happening,
Passionate
and
man.
passionate man. Yeah, he wants to get to the bottom of this. He knows it's possession, and he one of my favorite parts beheads neck of one of
Yes,
them because he thinks
Justine, he
that
cuts off
yeah,
Justine's head.
it's of Christine's head, which spurts with
Mhm.
blood.
So,
And carry on.
really quick to clarify something. So Justine in this part of the movie is in two different places, guys. Again, didn't want to give you too many spoilers, but I'm going to go ahead and spoil something for you. In the scene where they're trying to take away the demon in Justine, the possessed Justine, she dies, quote unquote, right?
Mhm,
Uh, and so they have her body here at the church, but then they go and look at the tomb as well, looking for Alucarda because Alucarda ends up running off with the doctor's daughter. Uh, she's not where they left her, and so they're looking for her. So they go to places where she might be. This is where they find Justine, as comics talking about in the tomb. Then she dies there. They go back to the church and hunt in search of Alucarda, trying to find the daughter and things like that, and to protect the church. Um, and this is where they find Justine again, burnt up. Now she's toast. Correct. Her whole body looks as if
mhm.
she's been flamed. Uh, she comes back to life, as comic was saying, and you were saying this is one of your favorite scenes. Go ahead.
Yeah, they chop her head off, and
Hmm.
blood spurts out.
Spurts. Yes.
It's a really good scene because it's my favorite because of the effects. Like I
Yes.
really like
They did well.
old-fashioned effects work. They do really well. They just it's a good spurt of blood.
It
It's
was. It
it's
was like
really
one spurt, one good, psh,
yeah
and then they were
yeah.
done. That's all they
They didn't
needed.
over egg it. They didn't go like everywhere. It just was
Yeah,
like that's it. Kind of
one
because
good
it's
spurt.
one ventricle vein out,
Mhm.
and then they go looking for Ala.
Alucarda.
I keep saying Alacondre. I don't know what.
Alucondre. No, Alucarda. Alucarda.
Alucarda, and they find Alucarda, and
Mhm.
Alucarda then starts to spoiler
Turn into
to
Carrie.
turn into Carrie and light everyone she can see on fire with
Which
her.
so I enjoyed these effects because
Yeah.
this looked like they legit just set people on fire. I don't know if that's what happened, but like it looked like they just set people on fire, guys. You got bodies running around, just
Mhm.
on fire. I feel like that's what they did. They just lit
Yeah,
them on fire.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had like stuntmen
Yeah,
in the nuns, and who were used to being on fire, and they like set them on fire because it was really kind of authentic looking. It was
it
just like
really was.
yeah,
It
because in
was.
those days the effects you could tell if they put like fire effects over a
Mhm.
person's, but this didn't have that. This was like
No,
looked
this looked
natural.
like they were just burning. It was
Hmm.
kind of intense. It was kind of tough to see. I'm not gonna lie
Yeah,
to you guys.
the screaming
Um,
as well. Screaming
mhm.
was really something. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So you get that Alucarda just starts lighting people on fire. The priest comes back, uh, and he starts trying to pull the demon out of her. Starts an exorcism right then and there, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and this is where you get the demise of the Alucarda, uh, in that scene. And I think that's where it ends, right?
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah, she does she melt? She
Yes,
melts
she melts
away.
away like Justine did, correct.
Yeah, she melts like Justine, and it does just end. It just ends. Then credits roll. And it,
Correct.
yeah.
Good film. Guys, I know that was a super rushed review, but this is the part we were waiting for. This is why it was so rushed. Comic, what'd you think of the movie, man? How did you feel?
Okay. So as you said, I think at the beginning when it first started, it was very. It felt to me like an adult movie. It kind of like felt like
You
we were
did
watching.
mention, especially the
Yeah.
way it was filmed as well, like,
Yes.
it seemed as like an adult film. Correct.
Yeah,
You're right.
because in those times, like 70s,
Mhm,
they did I don't know about Spanish, which is films. Even though it was English, it was
mhm.
filmed in Spain. It was a lot of films back then used to have just things that didn't make sense, where you'd have
Yes.
like any chance to see flesh. So you'd get
Mhm,
like, which happened to a lot of horror movies back then.
mhm.
Just like you'd have like women just playing around and tickling each other, and then they'd be falling down the hills, which is what happened in this film.
This actually
And
happened in the film,
this
yes.
actually happened, yeah.
But there
And
was no nudity in that scene, actually. None.
yeah, there was none. I didn't go where I thought it was going to go. That happened later with the weird
Wasn't until
hunchback man.
15 minutes later,
Yeah,
and
15
then you
minutes
get
later.
and then it
Yeah,
was all
that's true.
nudity after that. That's how
Yeah,
that worked.
that's how it works. So the film I was not aware of. I didn't know about it until you picked it for
Mhm,
me, until you picked it, and I didn't see it, know its existence. And then when it starts just rushes. It's just you're there. You put right in the
mhm,
film, and instead of being lost, you kind of get drawn into it because it's just like a runaway engine. It's just on one pedal, just goes on the train and never stops. And
mhm,
it doesn't, as I said, gives you no explanation, no detail. It doesn't have anything to explain what's happening. Just this woman just comes in, this Alucarda, who looked like a ghost. I thought she was a
mhm.
ghost. There's some weird entrances to characters, some
Very
introductions that are
weird.
very strange,
I agree.
very weird. I thought it was going to be a ghost because she just appeared. And when she
Mhm,
talked to her, okay, this is Alucarda. And I didn't even know Alucarda was the name of the main character.
mhm,
And then from then on, this woman's just rushing everything to her. And then we get the hunchback man, who I
mhm.
was like, my favorite, just made me laugh. He completely over the top character, and I
He
couldn't
was.
stop laughing with him. He was very funny, and it just goes from there. And you do not expect to know where it goes. It's a blend of folk horror,
Mhm.
which I didn't know they had in Spain, and because it's
Yeah.
all natural and forests. And then
Mhm.
it just goes into classic demonic possession. It ticks off the boxes of everything. You've got nudity, you've got orgies,
Satanism,
you've got
cult, all
Satanism,
that
cult, blood,
religion.
bleeding packs, everything, all the stuff that you see in every other type of horror movie they're putting there. It's like the cliche of every kind of
Folk horror
Satan
film.
movie, folk horror movie is
The
put
only
in there.
thing I think I didn't see was animals. A lot of folk horror tends to have animals.
Yes, there's no animal mutilation
Mhm.
in this,
None of
which
that.
is so none of that, which
Yeah.
like Wicker Man has a lot of and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And instead of being like, "Oh, this is silly," which it was, but it
Mhm.
kind of drew you into it. It was
It
just a
did.
lot of fun.
Mhm.
It was completely in its short running time. It just went full throttle, and the overacting, there's a bit of overacting,
There definitely was.
yeah, added to it. It's just a campy little film that I think if you're into like the classic horror template, if you like in those
Mhm.
70s, 80s horror movies, I think you definitely love this. I liked it. I As I got into it, it got more extreme and
Mhm.
deeper and less funny, and it
Yes.
was just and it just went full carnage. I kind of liked it. I thought it was fun.
I will say I agree, right?
Mhm.
Because it's almost like it tries to capture multiple horror templates to a degree. For one, as we said, it had the folk horror template.
Mhm.
It definitely in the beginning was not the best, so kind of a shitty horror movie template. Like it was
Yeah,
like this is trash. There were also like vibes of monster movie template, I feel, with the way they did Alucard. I kind of feel like with it being all gothic at times and things like that. I felt like it reminded me of like a Dracula film or something like that. I don't know if you agree, but I definitely could see vibes of like this kind of monster movie. It's not a monster movie, but it had monster movie vibes. Um, as far as I felt about the movie, I feel like the actress that played Alucard went above and beyond. Like when she did a scene, that woman committed to that scene. She did everything she could in it, and at times it was bothersome. When they
Mhm.
scream, there's a lot of screaming in this, guys. Turn your speakers down when you watch this movie because these girls hit high pitched screams again and again and again. Um, Now, like Comic was saying in the beginning of the film, it was trash. Don't give up there. If you watch this movie, do not give up, because the like second half, maybe even 75% of the film, you know what I mean? Like as Comic was saying, it really drew me in. Uh, Again, I'm a huge folk horror fan, as Comic knows. So this definitely checked off so many boxes for me. I see it why you know, why the cover drew me to it to begin with. It looked like one of the movies that I would watch.
Yeah, I wondered
Um,
why it drew you in. I was wondering why, because I never noticed it. And
yeah.
yeah, it's great.
So I've seen a few different Spanish horror movies. You know what I mean? And they've been pretty they're usually pretty twisted and fucked. So and I tend to like that style of horror movie, as you know. So first off, that was the first thing that drew me to it. I'm into that. Second off, the cover, man. Cover art, it does its job sometimes. Sometimes you see it and it just pulls you in. So I saw the name, and I was like, we got to watch this. And
Mhm.
luckily, I feel like it was a hit for me, man. It was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, I'm trying to think of favorite scenes. Like I said, one of my favorite scenes is the one where they're in the church and the nun we talked about with the nun reading the verse and they read it back and then just start hailing, say like I've never seen anything like that.
Mhm.
That was dark. Comic mentioned the head chop scene, beautifully done, especially for what they had in that time. Like, you know what I mean? Like effects wise, like they did really well with that. There was the other scene where they do the pact. We had mentioned while watching it. Like we know it's a fog machine, but the lighting they chose to use in that
Yeah.
moment was really good. I felt it was
Mm.
passable, man. But it was also in that same scene, like it was kind of comedic looking, but like it still worked. I was like, no, this is good. You guys are really creating the aura. I loved the packed scene. I loved that whenever the folk element started coming in is when the movie just took over. I was like, no, I get it. I understand why it's on a list. It deserves to be on a list. It's worth watching. Not my favorite movie by any means. Again, I just told you the first 15 to 20 minutes is like trash. Uh,
Yeah.
but the rest of it was worth it. And it's still not the best. Uh, you know what I mean? But it's worth watching, guys. It's definitely worth watching. Comic, what else do you got, man? How you feeling?
Yeah. The scene as well with the way the camera panned
Yes,
to
when they're
everything
lashing
slowly.
themselves
Yeah, they were
and then
lashing them, and it went to each character's
yes,
point of view, and you
I
saw
really
like
enjoyed
how
that.
they were seeing
Mhm.
these people looking at them and accusing them, and like in their face with their hands and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You be put into the point of view of the characters that were being what it would be like to be in that situation.
yeah.
Kind of was a good kind of experimental choice, I think.
I thought so. Very experimental, man. You hit the nail on the head. That's actually probably my uh close first. It's first or second. My favorite shot is, like I said, the two girls in the church, in the during the nun scene when it's literally the most simplest shots. It's like me and Comic here if we were to bring our heads close together right here. That's the shot. But that's this like that scene that you're talking about was beautiful, very artistic. I thought it was great, man. I loved that shot. Uh, the dialogue seemed to get better throughout the movie as
As he
well.
went on, yeah, yeah, it didn't start great. The
Yeah.
dialogue didn't start the best.
Yeah,
Uh,
not at all.
and yeah, the editing was a bit funny too. I think
The
there's some
editing, I'd say
choices.
throughout too.
Yeah,
Honestly, throughout the whole movie, the editing was kind of mid. It wasn't the best editing I've seen uh ever. I'm really curious like what budget was for this movie.
yeah, yeah. Me too. Because it was filmed like on location and stuff like that.
It
And
definitely was.
yeah, and I always reminded me of like the Middle Ages.
It
I
did.
wasn't sure what the time period of the film was as
Me
well.
either. They had me feeling like you said it was Middle Ages, and then the doctor walked in, and he looked
Yeah,
like
the
a
doctors.
modern guy.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
looked
It was
regular, you
confusing
know?
for me.
It
Yeah,
was
because
weird.
there was a lot of like because he was set in a priesthood in like a church. So
Mhm.
there, I don't know if maybe that wasn't showing. There was using candles. Is that because of the setting, like, or was that because of the period
Right.
of time? It was a bit confusing for me on that point.
We mentioned, it looked as if it could have influenced one of my favorite video game franchises. I don't know if that's the case,
Yeah,
but if you
it's a
guys
good
want a
point.
visual to think about in regards to what the movie looks like, think Resident Evil 4. That's very much the vibe, the look of the locations they chose, which I did like the locations. From the forest to the castle, it seemed as if it was a castle, to the church. It's because I think Resident Evil 4. You know what I mean? It wasn't a castle, it was a little church. I don't know what the size was, but from the tomb, it all looked like something you could have found in Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, the I was noticing this. I think I said to you the architecture of the church looked
Mhm.
really Old Testament
It did.
Gothic
It did.
like stuff. It was like you wouldn't find them in churches nowadays. Like it would really scare the bejesus out of you. Like if you walked in
For
those
real.
churches, like you had like loads of like Jesus
Jesus
crosses
is
and
hanging on
things
a
like
cross, yes.
hanging up, and there was like bumps and stuff and things on top of things and statues on top of statues with like horrible faces and candles and waxes, and everyone was in like they had guys in black robes.
They
It
did.
looked kind of culty, and
Looked like
it was
executioners, kinda.
it did. It did. It looked. That's the thing that I liked was about the film was the kind of cross between religion
Mhm.
and kind of like the the reality of that.
Mhm.
These people believe they're like the perfect people to believe that there would be a demonic possession because they
Yeah.
were old-fashioned, Old Testament whipping, uh, fire firewood and all that stuff and all
Yep.
that kind of it seemed like that. But then you had the as I said, the doctor who's trying to be logical, and then that stuck in my mind until we saw the actual fire, until we
Mhm.
saw the ladies doing their thing. Is this in their mind? Is this just what the paranoia of the location, like them being in like an Old Testament type church? Is it just their
Being withdrawn from
reaction?
real society and things like
Yeah,
that.
being like
Mhm.
isolated until obviously then we were proved the priest was proven right and it was actual
Right.
possession. So
You go ahead.
oh yeah, I finished. Yeah, so it was a interesting film. Not as gory as I would have liked it to have been.
You
I
wanted more
think
blood.
I wanted more blood. I think
Okay.
it was crazy, but I would have liked it to have been more crazy, like Sam Raimi Evil Dead type crazy. I
Yeah.
would have liked, you know,
Especially with the cheesiness, I could see that because it does
yeah.
have that cheesy feel,
I was
you know?
expecting more dead bodies to come back to life and
Mhm.
guts out and proper horror. But what we got was okay. Yeah,
I agree. And folk horror as well, like, a lot of times I'm classifying this folk horror, man. What do you think?
I think it's valid. I think it's
I
valid.
think I'm
Gothic, a bit gothic horror as well, kind of like
definitely
especially with the vampire part, which I didn't expect
yeah,
at the end with one of them. But folk horror for most of it, I think it reminded me of one film. It reminded me of Blood on Satan's Claw,
I
which
haven't
is a
seen it.
British film.
We'll have to
If you
watch
watch that, it gives you very strong vibes with this, very
for
similar
sure.
to that film.
I was gonna say, within folk horror a lot, you don't necessarily get a lot of blood and
Cool.
gore.
Yeah.
That's not their vibe, you know what I mean? You get some, but I think that's one thing I like about it, whereas, like, now in America, not even America, just mainstream horror movies, a lot of times, in this day and age, unfortunately, it's all, like, paranormal and ghosts, so you don't get a lot of that, blood and guts in that, but, like, in a lot like in the 90s, 80s, things like it was slashers, right? And what do
Yes.
slashers rely heavily on? And these are American-based movies, right? Like
Mhm.
blood and gore. Folk horror, for a guy like me, when I look for horror movies, I need a different kind of cup of tea. I need something new because I've seen that so much. Uh, I think it's interesting that they can still what I'm saying is I think it's interesting that they can still create a vibe of uncomfortableness, of disgust, of, fear without using all of the old
Very true.
tropes, as I'd say. You
Very
know,
true.
I, I
Yeah.
I think that's why I appreciate folk horror so much, is because they don't have to do the things that's the norm, that's become the template for horror, and I really enjoy that. But
Yeah.
I do love me some good blood and guts too. That's why I love
Mhm.
Japanese movies as well. I think Japanese horror films,
They go extreme. Yeah,
they take
Japanese
it to the
go
level, man.
way there. They go way
Mhm.
there. It's good that Foucault like what is like his atmosphere
It is
and tension,
atmosphere.
which this film had. This
It
film
did.
had the atmosphere. This film had the kind of uncertain ability factor.
Yeah.
I think.
What's
Yeah,
going on?
what's
Not
going on?
because the first 20 minutes, that was what's going on
So,
because you probably shoulda
yeah,
did a rewrite for that part, but
yeah.
it's okay. The rest of it though, yeah, you were like, "What's going on?" You know?
hmm
There were moments I've been binging Star Wars, there were moments I felt like we were on location for a Star Wars shoot though, like some of the
Yeah,
building. Yeah? Did you
yeah,
get
a
that at
little
all,
bit.
or
Yeah, some parts I think, but
like when the doctor comes out of his house, or actually when I think when he comes out of his house, and then when Alucarda and his daughter are running out, the building looked like something you would find on Anakin's planet, like his
oh,
homeland. I don't know, it
like
was weird.
the style of it, yeah,
Yeah,
like the arch
where
right type
Luke's
thing.
uncle and aunt lived. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's what it looked like. I was like, "What is
it
this?"
did.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
But
it was.
anyway,
Yeah, it was. I think Hammer Horror as well was
mhm.
remind me of Hammer Horror. I don't know if you've ever seen a Hammer Horror
I
movie.
have not yet. We
Um,
will have to watch.
I think we have to fix that someday. We have to watch that
Mhm.
because I think you would get if you like this film, you get I think a lot from that.
For
But
sure.
yeah, I thought it was an interesting film, one I never saw before. So it was so from
Same.
whichever film we've reviewed so far, I've seen this was one of the first ones I've never seen. So went in
Yes.
completely like new,
Mhm.
and it was also fun watching the view. So that's our first time doing that, and it was different. It was
It
good.
was a
Yeah,
blast.
I
I
enjoyed
do plan on us watch like, we need to watch the movies together from now on, if
it.
possible, you know what I
If
mean?
we can, yeah, there's
Yeah.
might be some find hard to do.
Mhm.
Depends on where we can next, but we can always like chat as we're watching the film if you want to do that.
Definitely, definitely. Serbian film up next, kids. No, I'm just playing. Do you have an idea of what the ne I'm joking, that's not what we're gonna watch.
We
Uh,
will maybe one day,
one
but I'm
day.
not ready. I'm not.
I
my
love
my
this. Huh? Go
my
ahead.
pick. Okay.
Yes, this is your pick. This is your pick. And you can look at the list, we can just decide off air, but I figured I'd put pressure on you and see if you had one now. If you don't, that's fine.
Okay. I don't have one now. I
Okay.
have one in my mind, but I would like to look a bit closer
Yes,
to see
that's
what
fine.
there is, and then maybe choose. I might go a bit off because all I can think of is films I've seen.
For sure.
Maybe there might be something I've
Try
not
s
seen.
I do want you to try to find something that you haven't seen yet.
Okay.
Let's go that because I enjoyed the fresh reaction with you. Like, we both experienced this one together as a team, man, and it was nice.
Mhm.
That's what I was saying, like, I loved this whole experience, this movie, doing it with you. This was a good time. It feels good to be back talking about it,
Yeah.
because this is what
Well.
me and Comic Book Fan do off air too, kids. Anytime we talk, if we're in Discord, if we're playing a game, if I'm in his stream or he's in my shoe, this is what we do. So it felt good to do this in front of a camera finally again and just spend this time with you, man. It was really nice. It was a good film. Uh I liked it. I want the poster. I want the poster of the cover
Mm.
back there. I think that'd be so dope. You know
That
what I
would be
mean?
something in a journey to find. If you could
It
find
would
it,
be a cool
then
piece to have. 1977. That'd be a collector's item for sure.
mhm,
Mhm.
50 years old, something like that.
Yeah. Well, comic, this was a good one. Kids,
Yeah,
without
it's
further
good.
ado, we have reached the end of our review. We will have a new movie for you next week or
Yeah,
every 2 weeks. Yeah, next week,
I think
kids.
next week because I'm off, so we
Cool.
can do that.
We'll have a new movie for you guys picked out coming soon. We are talking about making our own YouTube channel for the show. So stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Comic, plug your stuff, my guy.
Okay, yeah. So I'm on. You can find me on Letterboxd, comic book fan. I have my own reviews. Not so big reviews. I review, a lot of different types of films. Sometimes I go into depth. Sometimes it's just one lines. But I enjoy that. I'll try and aim for 4,000 uh, reviews if I can. And
That's
then I've
insane.
also got it's incredible. 3,000. And then I'm heading, I've also got a Twitch channel, same comic book fan, where I play a lot of different games. I'm playing Batman Arkham City at the moment. So I'm
Incredible
going,
game.
incredible game. I'm having a lot of fun revisiting that game. So part three of that will be this Saturday.
Very
Game.
incredible, very incredible. Follow up comic book fan on everything he does, kids. I'm a huge fan of him. Obviously, he's my guy, he's my friend, but also he's an incredible streamer. Kids, you know where to find me. King Castro X Gaming on Twitch. I play games. Um, I talk about stuff. I'm not good at games, but I like talking. You talk, I'll talk
Yeah, very
back,
good.
kids.
Very good. I
Um,
watch you play Star Wars. It's
Thank
awesome.
you. Star Wars is incredible. I've been loving it, dude. Uh, you guys can find us here, Cinema Time with Comic and Castro. You can find me on Comic Con's podcast with my brother, Young Master Jules, which we'll be bringing back very soon, kids. So stay tuned. More episodes coming to you. As well, check me out on Instagram, I think, at Pomegranate Boys Lift. I lift weights. We work out. Me and my friends. We've been making a lot of workout content. So you guys can watch that. That's pretty fun. Yeah, I think that's it. I haven't done this in a while. So I don't remember what else to plug. Check out Socks On or Off podcast. That's my brother's podcast, Young Master Jules. Check out Red Shirts Remastered. That's SF and the boys. Check out Dingus Den. That's SF and the boys. You know what I mean? It's all of us. We're always we go on that show,
Yeah,
comic.
we do.
Uh
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
check out the Classic Wolf podcast with Mr. Classic Wolf himself, one of my favorite people in the whole universe. Also a dope toy collector. He knows toys, kids, like the back of his hand. Uh that's it for now, I think. I'm trying not to forget anything. We haven't done this in so long. Uh I
Thank you.
think that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks a
All
lot.
right, kids. Well, without further ado, have a wonderful day. Watch some horror movies. Get scared. Tell us all about it. If there's a movie you want us to review, just message us or something. I don't know. I don't even know how to close the show anymore, guys. We're out of here. Peace, 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 peace,
Bye.
peace.